As a quick side note, one of these ships, the HMS Resolute, would be abandoned during the search and later recovered by an American whaling ship in the next thaw. The wood from it would then be used to make the Resolute desk and gifted to the US President, which has since been a permanent fixture in the Oval Office. Incredibly, another ship, the HMS Investigator under Captain Robert McClure, would actually find the legendary Northwest Passage while looking for Franklin. But then, after sailing in from the west side of the Arctic, this ship would also become trapped in ice and abandoned after 2 years. In 1853, after a rescue party marched out and met them, from the HMS Resolute, the two crews then combined their resources to make it to safety over the following year. All of this is to say that while it's easy to point at all the things wrong with the Franklin expedition, the place itself was just as much responsible. Those are just two of many examples of ships intended to rescue the expedition and later needing rescue themselves, in spite of being prepared for it and knowing that help would come much faster. Of the remaining Franklin crew, the most successful known group of survivors made it as far as Chesterfield Inlet on the western coast of Hudson Bay by using a lighter inflatable boat. But for all the progress they made, it just wasn't enough. Over the following decade, different Inuit groups claimed to have seen as many as 40 men traveling south in 1850, but by 1851, the group or groups had dropped to as little as 4 men, no longer pulling any boats. It's believed that by the end of 1851, most or all of the members of the crew had died of starvation or exposure. At the same time, during that era, the accounts of the Inuit weren't really believed, so the searchers didn't use much of the information that could have been available to them. Then, in 1854, a Scottish surgeon and explorer met several Inuit who gave him brass buttons and other items from the expedition as proof of their claims. They also claimed to have come across a grave with as many as 30 corpses and evidence of the men cutting, cooking, and cannibalizing their fellow crewmates. These claims were again quickly rejected by the Victorian public, the families of the crew, and quite vocally by Charles Dickens, who went on to write 3 stories discrediting this idea. This left the Inuit testimony by the wayside for well over 100 years until only recently academic sources began to compare and corroborate their accounts. In spite of the disbelief at the time, many of the Inuit stories are consistent in their major details, even if the timing isn't always right or the translation wasn't flawless. For instance, one group claims to have seen Captain Crozier and one other man as late as 1852 to 1858.